In this video I will bake a poppy seed filled crumble cake, and that is something very special from Germany. One of the ingredients, the filling actually, is something that I cannot buy ready here in America and probably nowhere else than in Germany. And so I have to make it myself, and I will show you how to do that. For the cake I will need 500 grams of flour, 200 grams of sugar, some vanilla sugar, and you can see how I make my vanilla sugar in that video up there. I think it's on this side. If you don't have vanilla sugar, you can just use some vanilla extract. I also need 250 grams of butter and 1 egg. So this is for the cake, for the dough. And now for the filling. I usually have this in Germany. It is a ready-made filling, poppy seed filling. It's called Mohnfix, or sometimes also called Mohnback. And I cannot get this here in America, so that's not too difficult to make yourself. I must say though that I had some trouble to find the poppy seeds in an amount that is reasonable for this recipe. So I actually went to 3 stores, and the 3rd store finally had some poppy seeds that was not just in a tiny little jar, but was in a larger jar, so I could I actually bought all of it, and by that I got half of the recipe that I usually need. So I only have half of the poppy seed that I need for my recipe. I could have ordered it at Amazon, but I was running out of time. I wanted to make this video. So in this video I will just make half of the recipe of the filling, and will just add my ready-made Mohnfix from Germany and mix it all together. But don't worry, I will give you the whole recipe on the blog, so you will find the exact measurement that you need for an entire batch of this poppy seed filling, and I will just use half of it. So what you need is the poppy seeds, of course. You need some milk, you will need some sugar, butter, some grits, and you can, but don't have to, use some raisins, and I'm currently soaking these raisins in warm water. As you probably know from previous videos, my husband doesn't really like raisins. I'm gonna use them anyway because, in my opinion, they really belong into this cake. You also need some marzipan, and you can buy it in the store, or you can make it yourself. How to do that you will find in another video that I published recently. So it's either way, it's okay. Yeah, so let's start with the dough. To make the dough I need my butter to be at room temperature, so it is soft and can be mixed very well. I first put in the butter and the sugar. And I give it a mix. Okay, and I'm also adding the egg and 2 teaspoons of vanilla sugar. Okay, and I keep mixing. And at last I add the flour. Let's start with half of it. And now I'm adding the rest. And I'm not mixing this for very long because I don't want the gluten to get out of the flour. So I just add it in here for like a minute or 2. Okay. And Now I have to divide this dough into two portions because half of it will be crumbles and the other half will be the bottom of the dough, of the cake. Okay, so this should be roughly half. And I've prepared my baking sheet. I have a silicone baking mat in here and this frame. And in Germany, our ovens are smaller than the one that I have here in Texas, and the baking sheets are smaller than the baking sheet I have here. So this might be a little bit too much dough, but you know, there's no such thing as too much dough, right? Okay, so I am now distributing the dough here in the pan. Now this comes in handy. This little thing is from my kids actually, and I sometimes use it in situations like this just to make things a little bit easier. But I can also use my hands. And I just want to fill the bottom, so I don't need to go up the rim or something. It's just the bottom of the cake. Okay. Yeah, so I will set this aside, and now I have to make the filling for the cake. To make the filling, I first have to bring the milk to a boil, and I'm also adding the butter to the milk. First cut it a little bit, so let it melt in the milk. Yeah, and the milk is about to start boiling. And now I am adding the sugar. And I'm adding the grits. Yeah, now I let it boil for a little bit. This really reminds me of the time when my kids were little and I was cooking their grits for them. I was really cooking most of their food myself. I barely bought any store-bought ready baby food or something. I really liked doing that, and I think my kids benefited from that because the store-bought food, it's made to taste that the parents like it. So they put some sugar in there and some salt and some spices, which is not necessary for little kids. So I wanted my kids to really know how the food tastes itself. And so now that they are older, they really know what a good quality food is, what it's supposed to taste like, so they don't eat much fast food. And you can see that the grit is thickening here in the milk. It's still quite liquid, but that's okay because I will later add the poppy seeds and then it will thicken a little more. And in general, if you haven't made any grit for your kids, you might not know, but this will thicken some more after a while. So this is basically just as I want it. And I'm turning this off now, and in my next step I will add the marzipan. Alright, so here I will put the grits into my bowl, warm as it is. And I cut the marzipan into smaller pieces and I put it in here now. And I mix this together. Now, in a perfect world, I would be able to buy my poppy seeds the way I want them, but this world is not perfect, so I have to do one more step to prepare my filling. I have to use this poppy seeds that is just as it's from nature in my coffee mill, and I have to grind it. Okay. Okay, you see, that's what it looks like after a while. And I can put this right in here. Yeah, and I have to grind this all now before I can add it to my grit mix. So now the poppy seeds are ground and I will mix them in with the rest of the filling. And I can smell the poppy seeds. It's a very nice smell. Okay, let's take a look at this. Yeah, it looks very good. So if your filling turns out to be a little bit too dense, you can add a little bit of water, just like that. Just give it a little bit. If you need more, you give it a little more. And you can add things now, like the raisins, which are optional, as you know. You can also add some nuts, or what I like to do, I like to add a little bit of the rum extract. Of course, you can also use real rum if you want. And I mix this in. And because I made only half the recipe and wanted to use my store-bought with this filling, I just add this to the mix so I have enough for my cake. One more mix. And if you want this to be a little more sweet, you can add a little more sugar. This one can have a little more sugar. Okay. So it's up to you how you want this filling to taste. I think I'll also add a little more of the rum extract. Let's see. Tiny little bit more sugar. All right, that should be enough. Okay, let me taste it one more time. Yeah, now it's exactly as I wanted. Tastes very good. And now I can use this to fill my cake. Okay, now this goes all in here. I spread it here as evenly as possible. Okay, and the last step now, the crumbles. So I'm using the rest of the dough and sprinkle crumbles on the cake. Okay, so that's what it looks like. And this will now go into the oven for about 40 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 180 degrees Celsius. And this is how the finished product looks like. So this is my poppy seed cake, and yeah, I let this cool now, and then I will cut it into squares and make some pictures so you can see how it looks from the sides. And it's a very delicious, usually very sweet cake. I have one advice though for you. If you eat some of this cake, afterwards check your smile in the mirror. You might have some poppy seeds between your teeth and it looks like a cavity. So you should probably double check or ask someone if you have some poppy seeds between your teeth, and make sure that you maybe have a toothbrush with you. Okay, so I hope you like this video. This is a very delicious cake. I hope you try it. It's worth the work. And thanks for watching my video. I hope you stay tuned for the next video.